Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Today on Customer States What, we have a 2014 LS 460. It's actually an employee's vehicle here, and he asked me to do some work to the vehicle. We're going to take it up top, we're going to look around, we're going to see what's going on, but what we're doing today, well, we're installing a coilover system. And now, I've never installed one before, and I have no idea how to do the adjustments or anything like that. And I told him that. But we do have somebody here today. We have another technician here that has had previous experience doing adjustments on this type of suspension setup. So what we're going to do today is I'm going to install everything, and then he's going to do the adjustments that are needed. I told him let's just set it to the basic settings, have the customer or the owner of the vehicle drive it, see how they like it, and then make any adjustments from there based off of their driving habits, based off of where they drive and whatnot, because the vehicle, well, it's at stock ride height right now, but it should be a little lower when we're done. And you know about that lowered life, it could either be really good or really bad. So you guys know what comes next. Let's take it up top. Now that we have taken it up top, we're going to look around. Oh, we could already see that he has hit something right here, and he wants to lower the vehicle. Alright, say no more, fam. We got you. Looking like we got some flavor on the suspension. We're going to have to reuse this arm right here because it detaches from the shock right below. We're going to have to reuse a lot of the hardware too, which is unfortunate. Because as we could see, we definitely have some flavor over here. We got a little bit of oozy ball joint right there. I didn't hear any knocks or bumps on the way in, so that's not that bad, but it's not that good either. Let's move on to the other side, where, yep, we got an oozy ball joint right there. We do have some flavor on the suspension components here as well. Shocks are looking moderately pretty good. It appears that they're not leaking, which is very good. Let's go a little further. Let's see how the exhaust is looking. As you know, when we live in the Salt Belt, things, oh yeah, we got some flavor right there. Hardware is struggling. Hardware is struggling with its identification and pronouns. I would say maybe a year from now, they will not identify, oh, I could see a hole in the flange. Yeah, rust and flavor is definitely getting a hold of this exhaust. Let's go a little further down. Well, we don't see any damage here. We do see a little bit of flavor on the floor. You never want to have flavor in the floor. Say that 5 times fast. Alright, let's go a little further back because, you know, when we go to the rear, we get to flavor country. And as we could see, we are most definitely in flavor country. That rear diff is starting to get petrified. Alright, oh, they did some custom exhaust. Alright. It sounds good, but I think that exhaust could have been done a little better. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments. So now we're looking back here, and yep, we're gonna have to take that guy out there. And we have a sway bar end link. That is the thinnest sway bar end link that I have ever seen in my career. Wow. And this is a LS 460. This is their flagship at the time. Are you serious? Look how tiny that freaking sway bar link is. Alright, whatever. How are the tires? Tires are looking good. Tires over here, yep, they're looking good also. Alright, let's get the BGN force out and start spraying this hardware down because we have minimal hardware to work with. And I think this car is going to give me some business. It's going to give me a rough time. Oh, at least the hardware to the height sensor is looking good. Oh, great googly moogly, why do I do this to myself? Oh, we got more flavor here. Well, you know what, it's not that bad. This ain't that good either. But let's start spraying. Alright. Alright guys, since I think the rear struts are going to be a whole lot harder than doing the fronts, what we had to do to gain access to the top of the strut area, we had to remove the bottom seat cushion, which is right here, and it's just really, oh, excuse me, floor is clean, so we're gonna put that there. We got 1, 2, 3. Oh, that came with it. That'll go back in the body. And all you really do, as you can see here, you just get your hand under the seat and lift up firmly, and you'll get it out. There's 2 other things you got to worry about. There's a connector on this side. Where is it? Well, believe me guys, there's a connector over here. Here it is. There's a connector right here for the heated seat. There's the same thing for the other side. Now, to get the top back seat portion out, there's a number of things you have to remove. There's a few 12 millimeters here. There's one here, one there, and there's another one there. There's 3 right here, and that'll take off completely the center headrest. But first, you have to pop this panel right here, and all you really have to do is just get in between here, give it a pull. Same on the other side, give it a pull, and that'll give you access to the hardware right here, and they're all 12 millimeters. Let's get to the other side and I'll show you also. Now that we're at the driver's side, we could see there was also a connector that connected right there that was hindering me from pulling the seat all the way forward. Now, we're not going to remove the seat belts. All we're going to do is we're going to pull them out enough. We're going to put the center armrest back up, and we're just going to fold this back so we could gain access to this lid right here, pop it up, and we should be able to see the top of the strut. Very good. It's going a little better than I thought, but we're not even a quarter of the way through. Very good. So we used our panel popper to pop this clip right here, and as we can see, there's the top of our strut right there. And that's going to be the same for the other side over there. So now that we have access to this, we're going to get this little cover off, and yeah, we're going to remove everything down below first. Hopefully our hardware is going to treat us right, because we do got some flavor. So say a prayer for me, guys. Alright, here we are underneath the vehicle. Everything's been soaking in BG Inforce. Please don't break. Please don't. Oh yeah. Alright, that's a good sign. That's a very good sign. Let's get to the other side, see how that goes. Oh yeah. Alright, very good, very good, very good. Let's get a little bit of more Inforce in there and keep it moving. Well, it was bound to happen, guys. We ran into an issue with the rear sway bar links. We were able to get this nut started. We cleaned up the threads with a wire wheel, stuck an Allen key in there, and it's a 17 millimeter nut. So it started to go, and then it started to slow down, then it stopped. We tried saving the links, and as we could see, we did not save the link. So this side, we put some stress relieving cuts into this nut, and we were able to get it out, but we cannot reuse these links. So we gave Auto Part International a call. They had some in stock. We have some on the way. So let's continue. Not very good. Alright guys, we got that top hat out. Now that exposed the actual strut top mount bolts. We're gonna get these 14 millimeters. I already broke them free. We get those out, and then we just guide the strut right out. Now the other side, we already got it out, and you saw what we had to do on the bench. We had to cut the sway bar links out because they were not acting right. They were talking back. So now that we got that out, as you can see here, there's no top hat there. Our strut is right here. And it's a good thing we're replacing it too, because as we could see, it was most definitely leaking. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, we have both rear struts installed. We have measured. Let me put my light there. We measured from here to here on both sides, They match. We lock the ring. On the interior, over here is all mounted up, as we can see. But the sucky part about this, well, you see this rear deck lid? There's no hole in there, and there's a dampening adjustment right here. So we didn't mess with any of the dampening. We're gonna let them drive, see how that is, see if they like it or not. And the other sucky part about it is if they want to adjust it, we freaking have to do the whole seat procedure all over again. Now, what I mentioned to them, if they want to do it, we can put a slight hole in the rear deck lid to gain access for the tool to get into the strut, but then that involves making a hole in the rear deck lid. And this is a Lexus. You don't want to have a hole in the rear deck lid. And not for nothing, there's going to be two, because there's one over there too. Great googly moogly. So we're going to leave it at the whatever the manufacturer set it to, and we're going to see how it rides. So now that we have that all installed, let's go to the bench. So Auto Part International, they said they had two, but not for nothing, when they went to the shelf where it was, they only had one. Today's Saturday, and they said they should have a new one in Monday morning. So what we're going to do is, and there is a left and a right, as we can see. See how that one's sitting? It's pointing that way. This one's sitting, it's pointing that way. Well, we got the one we really needed. This one, on the other hand, you could see the stress cut we had to do to get the nut off. I think I might just install it temporarily, just to give it a road test, or I might not install either one of them and just do it on my lunch break on Monday morning. You know, whatever, man, we'll figure it out. Alright guys, tips and tricks, so pay attention. Before you tighten any of the suspension components on the control arms, you have to raise the suspension. What I'm doing here is I'm pretty much simulating the ride height of the vehicle. We're putting weight up on the suspension, because if you just let it sag, right, and tighten the suspension, when you lower the car, you're going to put torque on the bushings over here, or especially if you're doing control arms or any suspension work, you want to preload your suspension and then tighten your bolts. The top mount, not really so much. You could go ahead and tighten that, but the sway bar, suspension bolts, any control arms, you want to preload your suspension before you torque down your bolts. Very good. Alright now guys, we are up to the front suspension, and we'll see if it goes a little better than the rear. We have to take this panel off here and this panel off here to expose the top strut mounts for the hardware for removal. So we're going to do that, and then we're going to go back underneath, and let's hope everything comes apart nicely. Very good, we got those panels off with minimal effort. None of the clips were broken in process. So there's the top of the strut. If you guys are wondering what the BG Enforce is, well, it's this stuff right here. It makes PB Blaster look like water. This stuff I absolutely love. Very good. We'll let that sit for a couple of minutes and then we'll break those free. Now let's go back underneath the vehicle. Very good. Now that we are back underneath the vehicle, we have a 22mm nut here, and whatever this guy is right here, I'm not sure yet. We already loosened the brake line here. BG Enforce doing its thing, you know what I mean? So far so good. Hopefully I won't have to remove this link out because it's looking a little more flavorful than the rear links, so let's hope we don't have to remove that. I don't think I'm gonna have to. So yeah, this guy broke free. Let's go to the other side. This side we sprayed down with some BG Enforce. Can't really get to the threads to this nut or this bolt right here because they're within the shock. So let's see if this one's gonna break free or not. That one over there already broke free. So let's see how this one's gonna go. All right, Enforce, do your thing. Oh yeah. It's always a good thing. So now that we exposed some of the threads, we're gonna get in there and get some penetrator through the back of the threads, and that'll only aid the removal of that nut. Very good. Very, very good. Well, next issue we ran into, as we could see, this guy comes right out. Well, let's go to the other side. This side did not come right out. In fact, it is still in. It's still very much in. We hit it with the air chisel, we hit it with the hammer, we hit it with the air chisel, hit it with the hammer, try and shock it free, and that was with no luck. So what I'm going to try and do is, I already took the hardware out from here, already took the hardware out from on the passenger side. We're going to try and leave this guy right there, lower the suspension a little bit if I can. I'm back on the struggle bus. Well guys, usually I do the harder portion of the job first, like we did the rear. I chose the easy way out this time. I did the easy passenger side where this was loose, and we got the new one in, as we could see. We're going to measure here and set the other side to the same exact height. We tried to match the length of the original one. We're going to put some new hardware right here to hold in the brake line, just a simple nut and bolt. We got the top strut loose, or excuse me, got the top strut all tight. We left this guy loose right here, and we're going to preload the suspension a little bit and tighten that nut up, and then we're going to move along to the other side. But while I'm looking here, look at this brake line. That is flavorful. At least the flare nut is. The line is looking good. That, however, is not. Well, all right, ladies and gentlemen, and everybody in between, the wheels are on, suspension's locked in. That's the front. You saw how I went on the struggle bus today. That guy's on there. We gotta wait till next week or a few days for the rear sway bar link. Let's hope they send me the correct one, because there is a left and a right. So everything is on. We're gonna lower the car, we're gonna check the ride height and see if my calibrated eye is still calibrated. We shall see. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we are done. It's lowered about a ½ inch in the front, a tiny bit more in the rear, but it's level almost. We got to compensate a little bit for the pitch in the floor. We had to do maybe about 5 different adjustments, trial and error. We put the car on the ground, so measured the ride height, put it back up, made adjustments, lowered it back down, bounced the suspension a little bit for it to settle, and this is where we're at right now. Customer is very happy, or I should say one of the salesmen here is very happy. We just have to do the interior, put it back together. We already got the deck lid back down, as we could see, so we're going to put the back in first, and then we're going to put the bottom back in. Make sure all our heated seat connectors are connected. I informed the owner that we have our adjustments in the front for the dampening, but for the rear we're going to have to take the seat back out again just to access the top of the shock. As you can see right here, there's a little thing that we turn in there to either soften or stiffen the suspension. But what I informed them to do is drive it for about a week, see if you like the height, see if you like the dampening, whether you want it a little stiffer or a little softer, or if you want to go a little lower, and yeah, we'll take it from there. So we got one thing left to do. We got to wait for that link to come in on Monday, and we'll install it. That'll be like a 1, 2, 3 thing, no worries. We don't have to cut anything out, we just have to install it, which is very good.
We still got to put those trim pieces back down. So I'm pretty much done, guys. If you don't know what to do yet, please like, subscribe, hit that bell notification
for further content.